The clock on the wall of Mike's auto shop ticked past midnight, but the lights in the garage still burned bright. Mike wiped the sweat from his forehead as he finished working on an old pickup truck. At 42, he had the strong hands of someone who had spent his life fixing things and the keen eyes of a man who could spot problems others missed. The desert night outside was quiet and dark. His shop sat alone on the edge of town, surrounded by nothing but sand and stars. Mike liked it that way. After 15 years of working as a top engineer at big companies, he had chosen this simple life instead. Here, he could fix things his way, without any bosses telling him what to do. He was just about to close up when a strange purple light filled the garage. At first, he thought it was lightning, but the light kept getting brighter. The tools on his workbench started to rattle, and a high-pitched whine cut through the air. Mike rushed outside, his wrench still in hand. What he saw made him freeze in his tracks. A spacecraft, an actual alien spacecraft, was trying to land in his yard. It was about the size of a small bus, with smooth silver sides that reflected the purple glow coming from its engines. But something was wrong. The ship was wobbling badly, and parts of it looked damaged. "Well, I'll be damned," Mike muttered, watching as the ship touched down. Sparks flew from one side, and a piece of metal plating fell off completely. His mechanic's brain was already noting all the visible problems, even though he'd never seen a spaceship before. The desert air filled with the smell of hot metal and something else, a sweet, strange scent like flowers and ozone mixed together. A door on the side of the ship slid open with a hiss, releasing a cloud of silvery steam. Mike took a few steps back, still holding his wrench. He wasn't scared, exactly, but he was smart enough to be careful. From the steam emerged a figure that made his jaw drop. The alien was clearly female, though not in any way Mike had seen in science fiction movies. She stood about 7 feet tall, with silvery skin that seemed to shimmer in the moonlight. Markings like swirling tattoos covered her arms, glowing faintly with their own light. Her face was almost human-like, but her eyes were large and completely purple, with no whites or pupils. Instead of hair, she had what looked like delicate crystal formations that caught the light and broke it into rainbow colors. She was also clearly upset about her ship. The alien walked around it, touching various damaged parts and making sounds that had to be alien curse words. When she noticed Mike standing there, she stopped and tilted her head. To Mike's surprise, she pulled out a small device and spoke into it. A moment later, words came out in clear English. "I require assistance. My ship has sustained critical damage." Mike looked at the ship, then at her, then at the wrench in his hand. A smile spread across his face. "Well, Mom," he said, "you've come to the right place. This might not be a spaceship repair shop, but I've never met a machine I couldn't fix." The alien's eyes widened slightly. She looked at Mike's simple garage, then at his old clothes covered in engine grease. The device in her hand translated her words again. "You believe you can repair advanced alien technology." Mike walked over to where the metal plate had fallen off. He knelt down and examined the break points, noting the unusual alloy and the way it had been fastened. "Technology is technology," he said confidently. "It might be more advanced, but everything follows the same basic rules. Something breaks, you figure out why, and you fix it. Simple as that." The alien watched him curiously as he stood up and held out his hand. "I'm Mike, and if you'll let me take a look, I think I can help get you back in the air." After a moment's hesitation, she reached out and shook his hand. Her skin felt smooth and cool, like polished metal. Through her translator, she said, "I accept your offer of assistance, Mike. My situation appears to leave me with few alternatives." Looking at the damaged ship under the desert stars, Mike grinned. This was going to be the most interesting repair job of his life. Mike led the tall alien visitor into his workshop, clearing off his old desk so she could sit down. She had to duck to avoid hitting her head on the ceiling fan, and the small metal chair creaked under her weight. The translator device she carried hummed softly in the quiet garage. "First things first," Mike said, pulling up his own chair. "What should I call you?" The alien spoke, and her real name came out as a series of musical tones that no human throat could make. The translator crackled and said, "My name would be difficult for you. In your language, the closest meaning would be star that sings at dawn. You may call me Star." Mike nodded, grabbing his notepad. "All right, Star. Tell me what happened to your ship." Star's crystal-like hair formations shifted colors as she spoke. "I was traveling through your solar system when my ship's main drive began making unusual sounds. I tried to reach the nearest space station, but the problems got worse. Your planet was the only one nearby with breathable atmosphere. Lucky for you, you landed right next to the best mechanic in 3 counties," Mike said with a smile. "Mind if I take a look inside the ship?" Star led him back outside. The ship's interior lights came on as they entered, revealing a cockpit filled with glowing panels and floating holographic displays. Mike whistled, impressed but not overwhelmed. Under all the fancy alien tech, he could see familiar patterns: control systems, power distribution, navigation equipment. It was just like a car, really. Just a very, very advanced car that could fly through space. "These readings indicate severe damage to multiple systems," Star explained, pointing to red symbols floating in the air. "On my world, this would require a complete replacement of the quantum drive matrix. But out here," she trailed off, worried. Mike walked around the cockpit, studying everything carefully. He noticed how the power systems were connected, how the different parts worked together. It was more advanced than anything on Earth, sure, but it still followed basic engineering rules. "Your quantum whatever might be fancy," he said, "but it's still just an engine that converts energy to movement. Show me where it is." Star pressed a panel, and a section of the floor slid open. Below, a cylinder about the size of a car engine glowed with soft blue light. Mike could see the crack in its casing right away, a thin line that shouldn't be there. "This is a Class 7 quantum drive matrix," Star explained. "It's designed to fold space-time for faster-than-light travel. The crack makes it highly unstable and dangerous." Mike leaned in closer, his mind already working on solutions. "The casing is made of some kind of metal, right? Metals can be fixed. We just need to stabilize the crack and reinforce the weak points." Star's purple eyes widened. "Impossible. The material is a special alloy that can only be manufactured in zero gravity. No ordinary metal can contain the quantum energies." Mike grinned. "Maybe not alone. But what if we combine materials? I've got some ideas that might work." He walked over to his toolbox and started pulling out equipment. "Your fancy space metal might be cracked, but if we can support it with a framework of Earth metals, treated just right, you would risk combining primitive Earth materials with advanced alien technology?" Star asked, sounding both worried and curious. "Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones," Mike replied. "Look, I've fixed everything from tractors to Tesla cars. The principles are always the same. Understand the problem, find what's broken, figure out how to make it work again. Your ship might be from another planet, but it's still just a machine." Star watched as Mike laid out his tools and started making drawings of his repair ideas. She had visited many worlds, but she had never met anyone who would look at advanced alien technology and think, "Yes, I can fix this with the contents of my garage." "Very well," she said finally. "Show me your simple solution, but please try not to blow up my ship." Mike laughed. "Don't worry, we'll have you flying again in no time. Now, first thing we need to do is stabilize that crack before it gets worse. Hand me that scanner of yours. I need to know exactly what we're dealing with." Together, they bent over the engine, the human and the alien, ready to attempt what Star's people would consider impossible. The morning sun crept over the desert horizon as Mike worked on Star's ship. He had been at it for 6 hours straight, studying the quantum drive with tools both alien and human. His coffee mug sat empty beside him, and his hands were covered in a strange, shimmering substance that came from the engine. "This is fascinating," Mike said, looking at the readings on Star's scanner. "Your quantum drive doesn't just power the ship, it's connected to everything. It's like the heart of the whole system." Star nodded, her crystal hair formations catching the early sunlight. "That is correct. The quantum matrix powers all ship functions. That is why the damage is so severe. Without it, nothing works properly." Mike wiped his hands on his old work rag and walked over to his workbench. He had laid out several pieces of metal he thought might work for the repair. There was titanium from an old aircraft part, some high-grade steel, and a piece of special alloy he had saved from his engineering days. "Here's what I'm thinking," he said, pointing to his sketch. "We can't fix the crack in your quantum drive completely. That special space metal of yours is too complex. But we can build a frame around it, like a cast for a broken arm. If we do it right, it'll hold everything together." Star looked skeptical. "The energies involved are enormous. Earth metals would not survive the quantum reactions." Mike smiled and held up the piece of special alloy. "That's why we're going to treat them first. See this? It's an experimental metal I worked with years ago. It's designed to handle extreme temperatures and pressure. If we combine it with your ship's repair systems, we might be able to make something strong enough." He led Star to his computer, where he had drawn up his plan. "Look here, we'll create layers. Your ship's metal on the inside, then a layer of treated titanium, then this special alloy on the outside. Each layer will help contain and stabilize the one before it." Star studied the drawings, her purple eyes moving quickly over the details. This is not how we do repairs," she said slowly. "But I see the logic in your approach. However, the precision required would be beyond human tools." Mike walked over to a covered shape in the corner of his garage and pulled off the tarp. Under it was a sophisticated computer-controlled machining system, a reminder of his past life in engineering. "Not all human tools are simple," he said with a grin. "This baby can cut metal with accuracy down to microns. Between this and your ship's repair systems, we can make the pieces we need." They spent the next few hours preparing the materials. Mike used Star's scanner to analyze the quantum drive's exotic metal, then programmed his machine to cut the Earth metals in precisely matching patterns. Star watched in amazement as the human machine worked with incredible precision, creating pieces that would fit perfectly around her ship's damaged drive. "The real trick," Mike explained as he checked the first pieces, "is going to be joining everything together. We'll need to use both our technologies for that. Your ship's repair system to handle the quantum drive material, and my welding equipment for the outer layers." Star touched one of the finished pieces. "And you believe this will contain the quantum energies?" "Only one way to find out," Mike said. "But first, we need to get that drive stabilized enough to work on. Those cracks are getting worse." He grabbed his tools and climbed back into the ship's engine compartment. The quantum drive was pulsing with uneven light now, and he could feel a strange vibration in the air around it. "Hand me your repair tool," he called to Star. "We're going to try something that's either very smart or very crazy." Star passed him her device, which looked like a small silver wand. "In my experience," she said, "with humans, it is often both." Mike laughed as he started working. "You might be right about that. Now let's see if we can get this heart of yours beating properly again." The quantum drive hummed ominously as they began their work, the fate of the ship hanging on their unusual repair attempt. The afternoon sun beat down on Mike's garage as he took a break from working on the ship. Star had insisted they rest, while the computer ran simulations on their repair design. They sat in the small office, sharing a meal. Mike with his sandwich, and Star with some strange, glowing fruit from her ship's storage. "So," Mike said, wiping his hands on a napkin, "you mentioned you're an artist. What kind of art do you make?" Star's crystal hair shimmered with pleasure at the question. She pulled out a small device and pressed a button. Suddenly, the air between them filled with floating lights that moved and changed color like a dancing rainbow. On my world, we create art with light and sound together, she explained. The colors and movements tell stories, while the harmonies give them meaning. She moved her hand, and the lights formed patterns that looked like flowing water. Mike watched, amazed. That's beautiful. Makes our paintings and sculptures seem pretty simple in comparison. Star shook her head, making her crystal formations tinkle softly. No, that is not true. Yesterday, while you were getting supplies, I looked up human art on your internet. She paused as her translator searched for words. Your Mona Lisa, your music, your dance, they are different, but not simple. You create beauty with what you have. Just like we fix things with what we have, Mike said with a smile. Speaking of which, how did your people get so advanced with their technology? Star's expression became thoughtful. We developed differently than humans. Our science focused on understanding the quantum nature of reality first, rather than mechanical principles. She pointed to her ship. That is why our repairs usually involve replacing parts entirely. We rarely improvise. Mike laughed. Meanwhile, humans started by hitting rocks together and worked our way up. Maybe that's why we're good at improvising. We had to figure everything out the hard way. He stood up and walked to the ship, Star following. The quantum drive was now surrounded by their strange combination of alien and human technology. Earth metals had been carefully shaped and treated, ready to support the damaged alien systems. You know what's funny? Mike said, checking the computer readings. Our way of fixing things isn't that different from your art. We look at what's broken, imagine how it could work better, and then make it happen. It's like creative problem solving. Star's eyes widened slightly. I had not thought of it that way. Perhaps that is why you can look at advanced technology and see solutions where we see only problems. They worked together through the afternoon, sharing more stories as they carefully assembled their repair system. Star told him about the great light sculpture gardens on her homeworld, where entire cities gathered to experience art that danced through the sky. Mike shared tales of Earth's greatest engineering achievements, from the pyramids to the space stations. Your species is fascinating, Star said as she helped Mike calibrate a sensor. You build incredible things with such limited resources. You solve problems in ways we would never imagine. We have to, Mike replied, adjusting a connection. Earth's a tough place. If something breaks and you can't replace it, you learn to fix it with whatever you've got. Star was quiet for a moment, watching him work. When I first landed here, I thought I was unfortunate to crash near such a primitive repair facility. Her translator crackled as she made a sound that might have been a laugh. Now I think perhaps I was very fortunate indeed. Mike grinned as he finished the calibration. Well, let's see if that fortune holds. The computer says our design will work, and all the pieces are ready. He looked at the complex repair they had created together, ready to try bringing your ship's heart back to life. Star nodded, her crystal hair catching the late afternoon sun. Yes, let us see what human ingenuity and alien technology can achieve together. They turned back to their work, both excited and nervous about testing their unusual repair. The desert sun was setting, painting the sky in colors that reminded Star of her light sculptures, while Mike's garage lights came on automatically, ready for another long night of work. The night had fallen over the desert as Mike and Star prepared for the crucial test of their repair work. The quantum drive sat in the middle of the ship's engine room, surrounded by their unique combination of alien and human engineering. The new metal framework they had built gleamed under the ship's lights, wrapped carefully around the damaged alien technology. All right, Mike said, double-checking every connection one last time. Everything's in place. The outer layer of Earth metals should help contain and direct the quantum energy back into the proper channels. Star stood at her ship's control panel, her purple eyes focused on the floating holographic displays. Energy levels are holding steady. The containment field is ready. Her crystal hair had taken on a deep blue color, showing her concentration. Mike took a deep breath. Okay, let's do this step by step. First, We'll start with 10% power, just to test if the framework holds. Star nodded and moved her hands over the controls. The quantum drive began to hum, its soft blue glow growing brighter. Mike watched the readings on both his equipment and Star's monitors, looking for any signs of trouble. 10% power achieved, Star announced. The crack in the matrix, it's holding. Your framework is actually containing the quantum energies. Mike smiled but kept his eyes on the readings. Good. Let's try 25%. Nice and slow. As the power increased, the humming grew louder. The framework they had built started to glow with a strange, silvery light where the earth metals met the alien alloy. Mike's special metal alloy was doing its job, helping to distribute the stress evenly across the entire structure. 50% power, Star called out. Her hair was shifting through rainbow colors now, showing her excitement. The efficiency readings. This is impossible. Mike looked up from his monitors. What's impossible? The energy flow, Star explained, her voice filled with wonder. Your framework isn't just containing the quantum field, it's focusing it. The efficiency is 30% higher than standard specifications. They continued increasing power, watching in amazement as the quantum drive performed better than it ever had before. The combination of alien quantum technology and earth metals had created something entirely new, a hybrid system that was more efficient than either technology alone. Full power, Star announced finally. The engine room filled with a brilliant blue-white light as the quantum drive reached maximum output. The framework glowed like moonlight on water, beautiful and strange. Mike checked the final readings, then broke into a huge grin. We did it. The drive is stable, the crack is contained, and according to these numbers, your ship is running better than ever. Star was moving quickly between different displays, her hands flying over the controls. This is revolutionary, she said, her translator barely keeping up with her excited words. The way your earth metals interact with the quantum field, it creates a focusing effect we never thought possible. Do you understand what this means? Mike wiped his hands on his work rag, looking proud but modest. It means your ship is fixed. Star turned to him, her purple eyes bright with excitement. It means so much more. This repair method could change how we build and maintain quantum drives across the galaxy. Simpler, more efficient, more durable. She paused, looking at him with new respect. A human mechanic with a garage full of earth metals just improved on technology that took my people centuries to develop. Mike shrugged, but he couldn't hide his smile. Sometimes you need a fresh pair of eyes. We might not have quantum physics figured out yet, but humans know a thing or two about making broken things work better than new. Star moved to the engine room's viewport, looking out at the starry desert sky. Indeed you do, she said softly. And I believe it is time for me to tell you the real reason I was traveling through your solar system. She turned back to face him, her expression serious. I am not just an artist, Mike. I have another role, one that makes this discovery even more significant. Mike raised an eyebrow, curious. What kind of role? The kind, Star replied, that is about to change your life forever. Mike sat back down in his office chair, trying to process what Star had just told him. The alien stood tall before him, her crystal hair now glowing with a dignified golden light that matched her formal tone. Let me get this straight, Mike said slowly. You're not just an artist. You're actually a member of your planet's technology council. Star nodded. I am the head of innovation for the Galactic Technology Council. My art is a hobby. My real work is finding and evaluating new technological developments across the galaxy. Mike looked around his simple garage, then back at the sophisticated alien standing in it. And your ship breaking down here was not entirely an accident. Star finished. We had detected unusual energy signatures from Earth, suggesting rapid technological development. I was sent to observe. The ship's damage was real, but landing near your garage was intentional. Mike stood up and walked to his workbench, running his hand over his old tools. So this was all a test. Star's expression softened. Not exactly. We needed to understand how humans would approach advanced technology. But what you achieved went far beyond our expectations. She pulled out a small device and projected a hologram of their repair work. This solution you created, combining simple earth metals with quantum technology. It's revolutionary. The hologram spun slowly, showing how Mike's framework had not just fixed the quantum drive but improved it. Your method could help thousands of ships across the galaxy, Star continued. More importantly, it shows that humanity is ready for more advanced contact. Mike crossed his arms. Ready for contact. What does that mean exactly? Star's crystal hair shimmered with multiple colors as she reached into a compartment in her suit. She pulled out two small, glowing crystals. It means I can offer you a choice, Mike. In this crystal, she held up the first one, are credits worth what humans would call $50 million. It's yours as payment for the repair and the innovation. Mike whistled at the number, but his eyes were drawn to the second crystal. And that one. Star held it up. The crystal pulsed with a soft blue light. This contains certification and authorization to become Earth's first licensed alien spacecraft mechanic. You would be registered with the Galactic Technology Council as an official repair station. Your garage would become a sanctioned stop for any alien vessels in this sector. Mike's eyes widened. You mean? You would be given access to basic alien repair technology and training, Star explained. Not our most advanced systems, but enough to help stranded travelers. Your innovative human approaches to repairs, combined with this technology, could make you one of the most valuable mechanics in this part of the galaxy. Mike looked at both crystals, thinking hard. The money would set him up for life. He could buy any tools he wanted, maybe even start a bigger shop. But the certification, that would mean more interesting problems to solve, more chances to learn and create new solutions. Of course, Star added, choosing the second crystal would mean keeping alien contact secret for now. We're not ready for full public revelation of our presence. You would need to be discreet. Mike laughed. Star, I've been fixing cars in the desert for years because I like the quiet life. Discreet is my middle name. He looked at the two crystals again, but in his heart, he already knew his choice. I'll take the certification, he said firmly. Money's nice, but I became a mechanic because I love fixing things, helping stranded aliens, learning about new technology, finding creative solutions. That's worth more than $50 million to me. Star's crystal hair burst into brilliant colors of joy. I hope you would say that. Your response proves we chose correctly. She handed him the blue crystal. Congratulations, Mike. You are now officially the first human certified for alien spacecraft repair. Mike held the crystal, feeling its slight warmth. So, when do I get my first official customer? Star smiled, her purple eyes twinkling. Actually, there's a cargo ship coming through this sector tomorrow with engine trouble. I might have already suggested they make a small detour to Earth. Mike grinned and picked up his favorite wrench. Well then, I better get this place ready for some alien customers. 3 months had passed since Star's visit, and Mike's auto shop had changed in subtle but important ways. To regular customers, it looked mostly the same, just an ordinary garage in the desert. But those who knew where to look would notice the small silver beacon mounted on the roof, its soft purple light barely visible in the daylight. Mike was under an old pickup truck when he heard the familiar hum. He rolled out just in time to see the air shimmer above his parking lot as a spacecraft dropped its cloaking field. This one looked like a cross between a semi-truck and a spaceship with worn paint and what looked like dents from asteroid hits. Right on schedule, Mike muttered, checking his new alien watch, a gift from a grateful cargo pilot he'd helped last week. He walked out to meet his newest customer. The ship's door opened with a hiss, and 2 alien beings stepped out. They looked like tall, blue-skinned humans with 4 arms each. Both wore what appeared to be space trucker uniforms, complete with caps bearing symbols Mike now recognized as a major galactic shipping company's logo. "Welcome to Mike's," he said, holding up the universal translator Star had left him. "What seems to be the trouble?" The taller alien spoke into their own translator. "We heard about you from Captain Star. She said you were the one who invented the Earth metal quantum drive enhancement." Mike smiled, remembering how that repair technique had quickly become famous among space travelers. "That's me, though I prefer to think of it as a good patch job that worked out well." The aliens led him to their engine room. Mike had gotten used to alien technology by now, but he still felt a thrill every time he saw new spacecraft systems. Each species had their own way of building things, which meant every repair was a new puzzle to solve. As he examined their engine, Mike thought about how his life had changed. His garage now had two sections: the regular shop for Earth vehicles and a hidden back area for his alien customers. The special tools Star had given him hung on the wall next to his old wrenches, and a holographic repair manual floated near his workbench. "Your quantum stabilizer is misaligned," Mike told the aliens, pointing to the problem. "But I got some ideas on how to fix it. Might even be able to improve your fuel efficiency while we're at it." The aliens looked at each other, then back at Mike. "Is it true what they say?" the shorter one asked. "That you can fix things other mechanics say are impossible to repair?" Mike shrugged. "Nothing's impossible. Sometimes you just need to look at problems differently." He pulled out his tablet, another gift from Star, which could now interface with alien technology. "Let me show you what I'm thinking." As he explained his repair plan, Mike remembered Star's last words before she left. "You're going to change how the galaxy thinks about repairs," she had said. "Sometimes the simplest solutions are the best ones, and humans are masters of simple solutions." She had been right. In just 3 months, Mike had fixed 37 alien ships. Each repair taught him something new, and each satisfied customer spread the word about the human mechanic who could work miracles with simple Earth metals and creative thinking. The space truckers agreed to his repair plan, and Mike got to work. As he carefully combined alien technology with Earth materials, he smiled to himself. His decision to choose certification over money had been the right one. Every day brought new challenges, new technologies, and new friends from across the galaxy. Above his workbench hung his most prized possession, the first piece of alien technology he had ever fixed, mounted next to his certification crystal. Below it was a small sign that read, "No problem too big, no species too far. Earth solutions for galactic repairs." As the desert sun set outside, casting long shadows through his garage, Mike heard another ship approaching. He grinned, reaching for his tools. Another day, another impossible repair job to solve, and he wouldn't have it any other way.